I mean, and it's all about creating the right mindset for it, because trading is, it's all about your emotions and how you handle it mentally. Because let's say you have one loss and can I really do this, or is it for me? It's all about here. And if you're I'm also talking daily on the phone with other traders. That's great, because it's so lonely. I mean, I could just sit here all alone, try to do it on my own, but I mean, I'm honestly, why should I try to do it 5 to 10 years on my own? Well, I could learn from other people, have a support system, because trading is very lonely. I mean, I don't know anyone in my town that's actually doing it. So
same with me. I don't. Well, it's actually changing in 2020. That's starting to change. True. Now, from 2007 to 2019, I mean, I knew nobody.
Welcome to the SteadyTrade podcast. We've got something really exclusively dedicated today for the new learners. We've come across the question several times where people know that they need to study a lot, but they don't know what and how to study really effectively.
What's up? Stephen Johnson reporting a near 10,000% return on investment from a small account using pretty much one pattern within the year. I've named this Stephen's Payday pattern because I've generated a lot of paydays from this pattern. And the question is, will this work for you? Well, all I know is it worked for me. And what I can do is give you a 5+ hour guide with the frameworks, the tools, and the data to prepare you to see if you can replicate that success. Trading is difficult. I've spent hours upon hours upon hours. There's tons of hard work, tons of study, tons of focus. But I've made it work for me, and I want to give you the tools, the pattern, the data to see if it can make it work for you. So click the link for the Payday pattern.
So we've got Whoa Black Betty, Bram Perrick, Bam Alam as our guest, because Bram has been a friend for a good year or so now. He's just transitioned into full-time trading, and he's demonstrated those good habits that will bring out a successful trader. And that's the intro, short and sweet for a change. How are you guys?
It was short because I didn't do the intro.
Oh no, that's kind of what I meant.
We should have a separate podcast, which no one would ever listen to. We should just cut out my introduction because it's like almost as long as a Joe Rogan podcast. So it could like stand on its own. No one would ever listen to it.
Just be intro. The intro.
Just the intro. You know, it's usually, Rogan's podcasts are about 3 hours. My intros are about 2:45, right in there.
Exactly.
So,
Can I just say though, today's a good day because I didn't lose money. The market is so bullish. It's unbelievable. I mean, look, I'm flat on the month. I'm like not down, but the market is so bullish. It is unbelievable. I've never seen the odds flip upside down where so many gappers are going.
And we'll, obviously we got a guest. We'll get to it, but I don't know if you've seen Kim or Steven or Bram.
Yeah.
DoorDash was supposed to open at 100. It's probably going to open at 200. I mean, it just shows you that what I've been talking about for 4 years now is there's just this insatiable appetite for stock, and that's where I go off and I lose it when people say this is overvalued. This is overvalued. Nothing's fucking overvalued if someone's willing to pay more for it. It doesn't matter if it's my house, if it's my car, if it's my empty non-moldy water jug. If someone's willing to pay $20 for this, we're $20. So
exactly. No pun intended on DoorDash and appetite there. I think I caught a little bit of fun.
So, I mean, I think we're just talking about some study habits. So I just want to I think it's good to start with everyone and just find out the most useful and proactive ways that you got profitable. And we've kind of touched on this before, but we've got Bram on and we've got Kim learning now. So we can touch on it again. Bram, do you want to just tell us about you little Dutch
sure.
fiend?
I mean, of course, my name is Bram. I'm 18 years old at the moment. I'm from the Netherlands, so I'm a little Dutch bastard.
do you
Yeah,
live, Bram? Where do you
I-
live?
I live in the east part of the Netherlands. I mean, probably the town doesn't ring a bell or anything.
Yeah,
But
say it
it's not
anyway.
near. It's
Say it anyway.
Haaksbergen.
Okay.
Oh shoot! I was hoping it was one of those ones that was like had 75 letters in the title or something. Or that's Iceland. That's Iceland. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I ever since I was 14, 15, I was I really had a passion for finance and trading, and I really started taking it seriously in the end of 2019 in regards to studying.
Mhm.
And yeah, ever since June of this year, I got into shorting first, but now so I did that for 4 months. But obviously, with a small account, you have those borrow fees, etc., etc. And since the beginning of November, I'm longing, and yeah, the last 3 days have been quite good for me. I mean, I'm recognizing, when you're longing those pieces of shit, small caps, you have to be very, very picky. I mean, if you don't, you're gonna get stuffed on every single time. So yeah, that's where I'm currently at.
Where's the study? What's the studying you've been doing? Like when you say you put studying, taking it seriously.
Studying in terms of I mean, it's kind of a broad perspective, but studying. I mean, all kinds of things. I mean, looking at level 2, pulling up charts and drawing lines on them, seeing where they're kind of bouncing off, where they're kind of stuffing, and also focusing on building my process. Because if you don't have a good process, I mean, you're just gonna go into the day without a process and without plans. You're just kind of gambling. And I mean, and I've also did some backtesting with Steven, also some data tracking, and I mean, everything really that makes is gonna help me become a successful long trader in small caps.
Now, and just Bram, I mean, you don't have to listen too much to the Americans on the left side of the screen for me. They might think that they rule the world, but Europe is where the power is at, and we know that. But like, what's got you the most results?
You keep that up, I'm gonna storm the Hague. I'll take over the Hague, and I'll stick an American flag right in the middle of it.
Talk about a rowing challenge. I'm gonna bloody row a boat over to you just to absolutely eat your soul. But but Bram, like, I don't mean eat your soul. I'm sorry about that. But Bram, what was the most effective thing that you've done? Because, for example, when it comes, like, I can look at dailies and dailies and dailies, but then I'm like, I'm not learning anything by just looking at these dailies. But then when I track, I find an edge of like, oh, these stocks do this, and these stocks do that. So is there a specific method where you thought, this makes tons of sense?
I mean, for me, just keeping it simple. I used to just overanalyze, overcomplicate, and currently just keeping it simple, looking at the floats, looking at the details of the stock, and making up the whole picture to see, are there baggies? Has it room to run? I mean, for me, it's just keeping it simple.
And baggies in Europe means backholders. I know in America it might mean something else. But it's like, Tim, what's your best advice for effective studying?
Oh, the biggest thing that I always look back on, and again, I always make the this will date me a little bit, but the Mitt Romney quote where he said he had binders full of women. So I always had binders and binders full of charts, and I think that to me, and I know I'm old school, but like when there was a pattern, again, this is going back to when I was first learning from Sykes, and he would call it a whatever. The biggest thing I'd do is I would print those, and Bram mentioned it, and I would, again, old school, I would draw those support and resistance lines. And then what I would do at the end of the day is I would come back at the end of the day. So I'd usually have like 5 charts that I'd print out. I'd put them in that binder. And then I'd come back at the end of the day and I'd be like, okay, what did they do? Because this goes back to when I had a business, had a family. A lot of days I couldn't trade, especially in the beginning. But I still wanted to know, okay, if I thought resistance on XBIO was 5, and if I thought, back then I was more short bias. So let's say I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to short a late day fail on XBIO. Does it touch 5? Does it fail on 5 and then break down? Or does it break through that level, squeeze, etc.? And then I would come back and see what it did. And, ideally, XBIO squeezes up to 5 in the morning, pulls back, pushes, that late day stuff move, as they say, which nobody talks about anymore. That's extinct as the dinosaurs. But anyway, it goes back up to that 5 level and then falls off. And now I'm like, oh, okay. That was, that I could have shorted that late day. It did what I expected it to do. Or if it didn't, if it did that move and it just kind of, chop, 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 like Chris yesterday, CRIS, perfect example of just a stock that something is going on with. We talked with VWAP Trader the other day. I mean, man, you're just like, and it's like, why is this stock up 400%, but yet will not downtick? And then I come back at the end of the day and see it spike into 8, 9 in the after hours and be like, okay, that's something I want to avoid. So that's the biggest thing for me, those physical charts. And I coded them. So I would have 3 or 4 different setups in 3 or 4 different binders and flip through those. So.
And we'll get to Kim in just one sec, but I just want to say that late day stuff move, PPSI last week. I don't know if you saw it or you remember it, but last week they pushed it at the end of the day, they stuffed it, and then everyone got out and sold out. And also, even today with Chris, why hasn't it failed? Like it's if you want to look at the chart, it's the 9th of December. Why is Chris still on VWAP? Why is it there? Why hasn't it cracked? It's 400%. It's a biotech. It's full of dilution. Why? Just tell me why.
I mean, those stocks just refuse to fill nowadays. I mean, you see shakeout weekends, shakeout week longs, and then slowly starts to creep back up, and you see those end of day squeezes a shit ton right now lately.
So why not buy VWAP? Why not buy VWAP at 2:00? Or should you? Is that a good trade or a bad trade? I'm not along.
I mean,
I'll answer first, and then I'll let Bram go. I think that I see it. I still see. I want to buy. My main strategy right now, especially summer into fall, my main strategy, and I said it this morning, Stephen. You probably heard it. I want to be buying when all these idiot shorts are losing their mind and they're panicking. I don't think they're panicking at VWAP.
Yeah.
So I think there's a good chance it could quote unquote stuff at VWAP. Now I know if that high day comes, I know what's happening. Now it might not go $5 higher, but I know there's going to be a spike there because I know that panic button's going to get hit. So that's my answer.
But it's just scary that they might stuff it though, and you buy in quite high up.
I mean, I would just wait whenever it starts to creep back up, whenever it starts to go towards VWAP again. I mean, I would like to wait, see it reject, see it still hold a higher low, and I would enter into that consolidation at usually before the end of day squeeze. That's for me.
It breaks VWAP.
That's more of Bram's approach is what I would call more of a Roland Wolf approach. Yeah. Which again, hey, nobody loves Roland more than I. And there's a million different ways to skin a cat. And the first thing I know, I yell and scream a lot, but I'm not saying my way is the only way, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would call Bram's approach more of that Roland Wolf style. So,
but I bet you Roland Wolf's approach has a low risk reward compared to yours, right? I bet you it wins less often, but I reckon his risk is probably tighter. But we'd have to get him back on to see. But in terms of Kim. The only lady on the podcast today.
Well, again, Stephen.
You don't know what I do on the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't gonna say it, but I've seen how your social media changes on the weekends. So, it's like, so I'm glad you said it and I didn't have to. So
I'm gonna show up to the rowing competition and beat you in a dress.
You probably like that.
But anyway, but Kim, for the time that you've been learning and you're new to it, other than the podcast, which I know you've learned a lot from listening to us guys, I guess, is there anything that you're more inclined to, or that you think is a better way, or that you're adapting to in this lonely journey?
In this lonely journey, I probably am going to be following Tim's direction because I just got access to all of his morning webinars. So I'm going to start to listen to that and just observe. I mean, I'm in the middle of getting approved for my trading account. I did put $3,000 in
Beautiful.
last week.
Good starting them out. That way,
yeah.
I mean, and I know I'm the king of interruption, but at least, that way, if you listen to Steven and short a low floater, at least you only lose 2,998. Then they'll take $2 in borrow fees.
Exactly.
And then you'll be done. Yeah, so.
Exactly.
What broker are you with, if I just may ask?
Ally.
All right.
Thanks to Bryce Davis. Bryce Davis at StocksToTrade has been incredibly helpful at getting my, screen. I got my new monitor, and Tim was making fun of me because it wasn't plugged in, but it wasn't plugged in because I hadn't been able to figure out. It's an HD plug that Bryce hooked up for me. So now I have a huge monitor. So I've been doing all the courses on StocksToTrade University, and I've watched, I think, about 14 to 22 courses that Tim created on there that are so powerful. He has the entire StocksToTrade screen up, and then Tim is at the bottom in a small square explaining what every specific thing is. That has been so.
How do you look so together? I mean, your hair looks nice. You're beautiful. Your clothes are on straight. You watch 14 lessons with me, and your hair. You don't look like that girl from like the Suicide Squad. With like the baseball bat.
Your courses are amazing. You're speaking without jargon at all. So like I'm able to listen to you and feel for the first time, oh my God, I really understand this. So nice. It's been amazing. Wonderful. Thank you for those courses.
I just have to jump in there and say, Tim, I don't know how you maintain that energy and enthusiasm from morning webinars, evening webinars, afternoon webinars, strategy sessions. I don't know.
Well, courses, recording
don't
courses.
Know how you do it.
You mentioned the Dave Goggins stealing souls quote earlier, and I mostly subsist on the souls of British people. That's what keeps me going every day.
British short sellers.
It's like Silence of the Lambs. I got this pit out back, and I've got this constant inflow of British people, and I live off their souls. That's how I do it.
Not true.
I was slightly concerned that I
put the
overstepped
lotion on your skin.
No, I'm not.
Oh my God, this is going to a dark place.
What's next, Tim? Soul of Dutch people?
Well, once I run out of British people, yeah, I'll probably jump across the channel. Yeah.
Well, we'll not talk about Dutch people and your history with what you've done to other people. The Dutch are some of the worst out there.
Yep.
But so Bram, where you at now?
Histories.
Where you at now, and are you data tracking on the long side? Because you showed us some stuff, but you showed us some of your VWAP and your success rates, because it's important for people to learn.
Yeah, so I'm not really that big of a data guy. I mean, I'm not like, I need to exactly enter here or there. I mean, trading is kind of an art form, right? So I'm actually using those support and resistance lines, and those are my number one focus, and then I'm constructing the patterns with it. So let's say we tank at open, and then we start to slowly grind higher and start to grow, towards VWAP. I mean, that could be a possible VWAP reclaim, but you should always expect VWAP to reject as a long trade. So yeah, I mean, I'm only trading this pattern. I mean, I'm mostly focused on drawing my lines and focusing on the strong stocks of the day. Those that really make new highs, higher lows, not just like random longing any stock.
I think you can long anything these days and it works. But I think Tim Bohen's his thesis is kind of the same as how I got profitable as well. I did it a bit more data orientated on Excel, but ultimately for me it comes down to just being curious. So you look at 5 stocks, you group them based on the daily, or you group them based on the sector. Because if you don't put things in groups, it's chaotic because the market's chaotic. So it has to be grouped.
Mm-hmm.
I think these dailies are similar. These sectors are the same. This news is the same. Mm-hmm. And then you need to make a prediction. And then you need to go back to it later and say, did it make the prediction? Yes, great. I can make that trade in the future.
Exactly.
Did it not make the prediction? No, it didn't. Why did it not? You need to be curious about why it didn't make the prediction. And ultimately, you find the reasons why the ones that didn't work, and you do the ones that did work, and then all of a sudden, over a period of years, you get successful. And I mean, that's it, right? I mean, Tim, is there anything more to it, or?
Well, I mean, obviously that's a brief summary. There's always more to it than that. But if you were to say, how do you summarize quote unquote studying in 30 seconds? I think you nailed it. I mean, I love the way you said it. It's like you got to be curious, and like to me, and first of all, I hope every one of you are part-time traders. I've talked about this a lot. Okay, don't quit your job yet. I don't care if you got 5 profitable trades, but if you go to work, if you go to work and you got a lot going on.
But don't laugh. Don't laugh. There are a lot of traders out there who have 5 successful trades and they quit their day
That's
job.
one of the funniest things Tim said this whole year.
I've seen it.
It happens.
You guys don't know
I'm
about
successful.
shit.
That's actually hilarious.
Hey,
I've had 5 more trades. I'm done. I'm out. I'm falling.
I got names. I won't name them. I got a name. Anyway,
It happens.
my point is, if you're like, say you got a really shitty day at work, okay? Steven comes in as a customer. You can't understand a goddamn word he says, okay? He orders the haggis. You don't even know what a haggis is. He wants this disgusting fish and chips served in yesterday's newspaper. And you're like, what is going on? Next, he's calling for the manager. You have a terrible day at work. If you're not like curious to look and see what those stocks did, it might not be for you. And if you've got that curiosity and you want to find out, what did Chris do today? What did XBIO do today? That is what you need. And I think it is just that simple. So
yeah, for sure. Bram, I have some questions. So are you trading now full time, or are you listening to Tim's wise advice and keeping a day job?
I've took a year off of college. So you could say a gap year. I've studied international business in the first year, and I got my first year certificate. And now I just want to take a year off. I've worked a summer job all summer.
Okay.
And save up for my trading. And yeah, I'm currently doing that.
Do you have support and encouragement, let's say from your parents or people in your life?
My parents are really discouraging me, but they don't really
so how do you handle that?
Yeah, I mean, in the end, I'm doing what I want to do in life, and they may not agree with me. But I'm also not the person that's really, like saying to them, oh, I'm going to do this or this. I'm just saying it on a normal level, a normal tone, and I'm just not being a burden to anyone.
Yeah. Well, and again, and this is kind of Kim's department with a lot of this stuff. But, I mean, me as a parent, it's like, I mean, if they weren't like, hey, Bram, are you sure? I'd probably be more worried if you were like, yeah, my parents are telling me go wild, day trade. I'd probably be like, oh man, I mean,
exactly. I mean, it's normal.
It's a risky business. You're a young guy, it's like they I guess I don't consider that a bad thing that they're like, whoa,
it's parent instinct, I think.
Yeah.
So. For sure. And do you feel that their concern is a concern that you can appreciate for yourself? Like, do you have hesitation? Do you keep certain kind of stops on yourself to protect yourself and your money right now?
Yeah. Hard stops. Number 1, of course. And then I have my max daily loss. So if I'm losing more than that, I'm just quitting for the day, because I know this single day doesn't matter. I mean, it's all about the long term. This one single trade isn't important. 1,000 trades are. And I mean, I'm handling it pretty well. I'm also in another trading community. It's called My Investing Club. I'm not sure if you guys heard about it, with Bao and Alex.
We know these people, Bram.
Okay.
We do.
Yeah, and I tell you, what I love is like what you said there, that quote that, and a lot of people think of it opposite ways is, that whole one trade doesn't really matter. Well, one trade matters if you don't stick to your stop. You know, if you size up, if you add to a loser, that one trade matters. But you're right.
Yes.
What you're just trying to do is, get that body of work, put in that 10,000 hours, and not blow up your account. And I love your attitude in relation to that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's all about creating the right mindset for it, because trading is, it's all about your emotions and how you handle it mentally. Because let's say you have one loss and can I really do this, or is it for me? It's all about here. And if you're I'm also talking daily on the phone with other traders. That's great, because it's so lonely. I mean, I could just sit here all alone, try to do it on my own. But I mean, I'm honestly, why should I try to do it 5 to 10 years on my own? Well, I could learn from other people, have a support system, because trading is very lonely. I mean, I don't know anyone in my town that's actually doing it. So
same with me. I don't. Well, it's actually changing in 2020. That's starting to change. Now from 2007 to 2019. Yeah, I mean, I knew nobody. So that's why I love that you're doing that. Building, because it's a lonely business, man. And Kim has analyzed me on this a lot. I get into bad loops at times, and when you don't have a community to help you with those, when you go to those dark spaces, man, it gets worse. It gets worse.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. What do you attribute that to, Bram? You're knowing that this is mindset, and that you need to have like certain people supporting you. Like, what do you attribute that to for an 18-year-old young man? That's an incredible piece of wisdom. Where did you acquire that from?
I mean, reading a lot of books, mindset books, listening to a lot of motivational stuff online on YouTube, and also just seeking out the right people that really have done it and have
how do you do that? How do you find the right people to follow? What's the criteria you use to measure whether I'm going to listen to this guy or that gal?
Well, first, their ego, if they have an ego or not. That's for me very important. So let's say they brag about all kinds of things. That's right off the bat a no-go for me. And I mean, I think it's also quite hard to really find the legitimate people nowadays online, because you see so many scams and pumps and all those people that really just want to take your money, and it's hard to have that filter to filter out the right people.
Yeah. How are you doing it right now? Like, how did you find your community, and how did you find Steven?
I found Steven through his YouTube lives. I think it's December or January. I showed up every single day to every single live stream of Steven. I was like on the bus, on school, at college. I was like just messaging.
My story's similar. I found him behind a dumpster at 4 a.m. So trying to give me some of his Mad Dog 2020. So. Very similar story.
Well, good job, Bram, for being selective. And, it sounds like you're approaching this with a lot of wisdom and maturity for somebody as young as you are. So congrats. And I'm excited to see what you're going to create.
What's on the whiteboard? I love whiteboards.
It says moving your money from point A to B. I mean, when I'm longing these small caps, it's basically about moving your money from point A to point B to build the account, and that's it. Nothing more. I mean, we're not marrying these stocks. Simply tools to increase our wealth. That's it.
So, and Bram, can I just ask, what's your plan B? Is there some farms you can work on if this doesn't work out, or do you have a plan B?
I mean, I have a weekend job, so let's say tomorrow I'm going into the market, and I'm, for some reason, not sure it's not gonna happen, but I blow up. I just work.
But is this? I want to get out of you what I've got out of you before on a previous YouTube. Is there a plan B in life, like a different career, or are you just dedicated? How dedicated are you to this? Because I remember once you told us that you'd rather die than fail. This is where I'm getting at. I'm
100% dedicated, man. I mean, I'm also not looking at what if in 6 months. I'm just focusing on day by day, and I can also go back to college. if it doesn't work out, and then still do trading on the side. That's the beauty. And also the time zone here. The market opens at 3:30 p.m. here.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Love it.
And it closes at 10 p.m. So let's say you have a day job, you can still trade the last 2 hours or 3 hours.
But do you think you'll be in the markets for your full life? Do you think there's any way you'll ever not look at them? Or
I think so, yeah. Because, I mean, there are endless opportunities in the markets.
yeah, look, I mean,
And I like finance.
me and Bram became friends because he was one of the few people that I've ever met who wasn't profitable, that had the same appetite for trading that I had. And it wasn't associated with profits. It was purely associated with a love of the game.
Wow. That's amazing. Maybe that's like the litmus test right there. Do you have love the game, even if you're not profitable right out of the gate, and have that interest and curiosity that Tim spoke about, and even you spoke about, Stephen? Maybe that's the real litmus test to see if you've got what it takes to go the distance.
Exactly.
You have to love it, but because you're probably going to lose for the first couple of years.
Yep.
So you have to really love the game to get through losing for 2 or 3 years first.
And this is kind of closing the loop on the joke earlier. And you know, Stephen, you're like, well, you know, you get up at 4:30. You know, how do you keep your energy up all day? I freaking love this stuff. Now, you know, we could do this at 9 o'clock at night, and I would still love talking stocks, strategy, how to everything we talked about today, how to do this, what I did back then, what I hope to do in the future. I mean, you could it's 1 p.m. Eastern. You put on a football or a basketball game, and I'd probably be asleep in 5 fucking minutes. I could care less. I could care less about sports. I could care less about, you know, what Kim Kardashian is doing. You know, politics. I only care about politics in the extent that it makes a trade opportunity.
Yep.
You know, you put on, you know, Fox News or CNN, and I'm falling asleep in 5 minutes. But if we're talking stocks, let's go till midnight, baby. You know, that's, you know, answering your question, barring the joke from earlier. So
we'll ask one final question to close it up, but I'll just want to also leave you with a quote from Kyle Williams. Kyle's been on, he's on the Twist a lot. Kyle said, and I really need to get this quite right, but it was really interesting. And he puts quotes on his Instagram all the time, but he said, if he spent the same amount of time learning to trade as he did watching Netflix, he'd be a terrible trader, because he's just not wired to enjoy Netflix. He doesn't enjoy Netflix. Like, he might watch it a bit. I don't want to paraphrase him. I don't know how much he likes Netflix, but he basically said he's just not wired to like Netflix. And I was like, that's the same as me. I'm put a TV channel on for 10 minutes. I'm on my phone because I'm bored. I'm checking stocks.
Yep.
Yeah, you're looking up tickers and stuff. You're like, I don't care what's on TV.
Exactly.
So just before we wrap it up, do you have just in one sentence, what someone should do or what someone should explore next if they want to improve the trading? I would say track the data of the daily setups to find out what the percentages of what the setup works, and then after that, find out why it works and why it doesn't. And Bram, I guess we can go clockwise around for this screen for me.
I mean, look for people who are already doing it successfully. Put on your filter to filter out those BS people and learn from them. And don't try to do it on your own. That's it. It's very lonely. Just connect with people. Just get out of your comfort zone, and that's it. That's my sentence.
Kim?
Sign up for StocksToTrade and do the university. The university classes are priceless. They've changed the whole experience for me, because so much of what I have been reading and, you know, the courses I was listening to, I needed to have more context. And I just feel these courses with Tim, they gave me the context that I didn't have. I needed some very basic explanations, and even just hearing him talk about them again and again, the vocabulary words and the phrases and everything he's pointing to is just becoming more and more familiar. So that's my advice.
Big Tim?
This is direct to you, Bram. You know, one of the things, number one, greatly respect it. I'm jealous. I always say this. You know, I didn't have, you know, you mentioned the communities and the internet. I mean, here we are talking across the world. When I was 18, it was like $5 a minute to call Europe on the phone.
Right. That's so true.
So one of the sayings that they always say is youth is wasted on the young. Okay. Mm-hmm. Young man, you're not wasting it. And what I want you to do is also keep this in mind. You're young. That is an asset. You got so much time. 90% of my Twitter is making fun of gunslingers, man. You don't need to be a gunslinger. You can take your time. You can trade small. You can work that weekend job. You can take that day job and just have that long mindset that maybe it takes you 2 years. Maybe it takes you 3 years. Maybe it takes you 4 years. Oh, boo-hoo. You're 22 years old and you're a consistently profitable trader.
Exactly.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Exactly.
So
or even get the degree, or even get his
exactly.
business degree. Like that business degree is going to help you be a much more successful trader long term.
Yeah, builds discipline. I mean, even if you don't use that degree, getting a degree shows your discipline, shows you show up, etc. So, thank you, Bram. Yeah, I love your attitude, and yeah, just keep that mindset. All right, keep the mindset you got today. I don't want to be talking to you like 4 years from now, having you sounding like Steven being when he's bagged short of stock. I always know he's bagged because he posts that poll. The poll, like, what will this open at tomorrow? I'm like, oh, he's obviously bagged.
It's so true. I'm like, please, the community help us. Because do you know what it is? They're always right. They're always right. The community are generally always right. And I'm like, for 95%. But anyway, Bram, it's been wonderful to have you on. I would say you've been a friend for a long time. As the last piece of advice, ditch the degree and short big. It'll work out, even if you look at me where I am in my parents' house. Look at me. Look at me where I am a good example. Gain some weight, get a bit more unhealthy. And that is all for the Steady Trade podcast today. Thank you, guys.